So that's the housekeeping. Let me go ahead and introduce Sarah Spencer. So I'm super excited to introduce Sarah. I met Sarah last year at the 2019 IFEP up in New Jersey, and we had a great time together. Sarah has a long history of crafting and creativity. She's a creative coach, a graphic facilitator, and an artist based in Phoenix, Arizona, 480. Sarah loves her time hiking in the beautiful Rocky Mountains and draws on nature along the way. Her studio, get this, is a 1964 Airstream travel trailer that was remodeled to accommodate her creative endeavors, and I'm super jealous of it. I want one myself. Sarah's work inspires people to discover their creativity, tell meaningful stories, and envision a bright future. I'm super excited to introduce you to Sarah. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and spotlight her video. Sarah, over to you.
Thank you so much. And everybody can see me all right? Thank you for joining me. Welcome to my cabin in the woods. If I were in Phoenix, I might be in the trailer. So next time we'll do that. I'd like to begin by grounding in this creativity with a few deep breaths so we can let go of our day and be fully present. So if you'd like to close your eyes, you may, but I'd ask everyone to take a deep breath and let it out. One more time. Great. And what this is doing is we are calling our crafty child in to play. And what that means is you will be playing with creative tools today, and you may feel a sensation of judgment in drawing and cutting, and that there may be some perfectionism that comes in. And what I'd like to say to you is that we can leave that at the door, because this is about the process, not the product. And what you're going to find today is that you'll have a lot of fun doing it. So thank you for joining me. Humans are natural storytellers. From our beginnings, we have relied on storytelling to entertain, to communicate important information, and to figure out this continually confounding world we live in. In Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, every good story starts with an inciting incident. So for instance, all the forest is calm and beautiful, and then one day, bam, a big dark shadow appears, and the story begins. It's the setup to the story, that inciting incident, that moves the story along. And today we are going to examine this element through the use of metaphor. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see. Okay. Share. There we go. Can everyone see my screen? Is it? Oh, excellent. Good. Okay. So here's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to tell you a story about a mental block I had, and how discovering metaphors helped me to overcome it. And then you are going to craft a common metaphor to experience how this is one-dimensional. And then through your own handiwork, you're going to discover how the crafted metaphor tells a story. And then you will turn your own block that you have brought with you, and if not, we'll discuss that a little later. You will turn your own block into a crafted metaphor. And finally, you will leave here today with a renewed sense of your own creativity and a method for approaching your blocks. So speaking of approaching blocks, let's look at how Michelangelo approached his blocks. He said, "The sculpture is already complete within the marble block before I start my work. It's already there. I just have to chisel away this material." So you are going to chisel away the superfluous material of one of your blocks. Now, in email, I sent two of them. I asked you to come with a challenge. And if you haven't, that's fine. Just now think about something that you are having some energy around. Like, are you having trouble reaching a goal? And is there something that you are trying to do that you're having trouble with? So what I'd like you to do is take out a piece of paper. It doesn't really matter what size it is. And I would like you to take about 15 seconds now and write that down on a little piece of paper. And then I'll tell you what to do with it. Okay. Okay, that's great. All right, so now what you're going to do with that challenge, with that block, is you are going to fold it up. We're gonna put it someplace for a little bit. And I want you to sit on it and warm it up for later. Okay, all right, so now we have identified our own challenge and we are gonna move on. And I am going to now tell you a little story. So pain comes in many forms. There is the shock of bad news, the crushing blow of a broken heart, the gnawing feeling of impending debts, and the loud buzz of panic right when you find yourself without a purpose and a paycheck. And for me, all of these things happened all at once in a town hall meeting when I was working at my dream job. In my 20s, I was totally satisfied with having a job. I suffered through tough bosses and long hours. And then in my 30s, I discovered the joys and heartaches of self-employment. But it wasn't until my 40s that I found what I thought to be my destiny, was working for a great team with a great company and doing great work. Oh, in fact, I did so well at working, I turned into a workaholic. I would work 12 hours a day, sometimes 6 days a week, and I loved it. I spent years churning through the corporate world and learning hard lessons of leadership and contributing my expertise to the growth of the company. It was quite satisfying. I thought pouring my heart into the workplace would secure me with the company for a long career. They had to see my value, I thought. I bought into that one-dimensional world of where if you work hard, the company will take care of you. And then came that layoff and my plans were shattered. I had become so specialized that the only way for me to keep working in that work was to move to New York City, and I didn't really want to do that. So I felt like I was knocked out cold and my plans in life were shattered. And here I was at 43 years old and unsure of what to do or how to get up. So losing my job meant losing a sense of security that goes back to my childhood. I'm one of 5 kids in the household that never seemed to have any money. I remember this one time I was in grade school, Friends' sweaters were really popular and I wanted one. And they were expensive, and my mom bought me the cheap facsimile instead. And I swear I'll still remember, I was so crushed that I vowed that as an adult, I would always have enough money to buy whatever it is that I wanted. Well, I grew up and this is my story. So here I was, a career workaholic with a job. I was panicked to find unemployment. And when nothing in Phoenix could replace what I had, I accepted a job that was not a fit for me, and I got a paycheck, but that was about all. I became really sad and started diving into depression. The saving grace during this time was the nights I spent crafting in my best friend's art studio. One of the walls was floor to ceiling drawers with bins and every imaginable raw supply you can imagine. There was ribbon, and it still is, in fact, ribbon and fabric and glitter. And oh my God, the glitter, it gets on me every single time. We used to call it the Michael's Annex. Anyway, we got together on Saturdays to work out our frustrations on these unsuspecting crafting supplies. And we drew and folded and cut and glued, and for no other purpose than to hang out and have fun. And one day I was complaining about this job I had, how much I hated it. And my friend was like, well, why don't you just quit? And I said, you know, I don't know why I don't. It feels like a scratchy wool pantsuit. I just want to take it off. It was ill-fitting, and worst of all, I put it on every morning to get a paycheck. And then right then, I realized exactly why I was depressed. And no wonder. I was putting on a scratchy wool pantsuit every day to go to work. So with crafting supplies at hand, I set out to craft this scratchy wool pantsuit. It was entertaining. From a stack of paper, I cut and I glued and I decorated this pantsuit, and I thought about my crappy job and how I wanted to get out of it. And I promised myself, once I was out of it, I would never get into it again. So when I was done, I held it up to Cindy to see, and she said, okay, well, now when you take that off, what are you going to put on instead? I hadn't thought about that. I was committed to quitting the crappy job, but I wasn't really sure what I was going to do once I did. So I made a plan to meditate and visualize and exercise and eat better and drink plenty of water. And I especially wanted to give myself the permission to bail from anything that I didn't want to do, especially if it was just about the money. So I envisioned all these things and concluded that I needed to put them in a bag. So still sitting at the crafting table, I designed a backpack, and that backpack works well for me because I'm a hiker and a camper. And so I cut out a backpack and drew it and pasted all of the things in this backpack in it. And to this day, that paper sculpture hangs in my office. And it's complete with a ripcord and a parachute. And let me tell you, I've pulled that ripcord more than once. These days, I live with my metaphorical backpack on. And there are times when I do take it off. You know, I overeat at the holidays, and, you know, I stop meditating sometimes, but I do always have that to go back to, and I can put it back on. And I know that's exactly what I need to do to return to my best self. And this metaphor has guided me through my entire life since I've crafted it, and its power is unbelievably powerful. So today, what I would like to share with you is the secrets I discovered in playing with metaphor. But first, let's look at two types of metaphors that exist. There's the common metaphor, and there is the crafted metaphor. So let's start by looking at some common metaphors. So you've got, she's a night owl, he's a star, you are my sunshine, the apple of my eye. These metaphors are used often in American culture, and this is what makes them common. And I'm going to stop sharing here for a minute. And I would like to ask, do any of these four common metaphors inspire any other metaphors that you have heard? What might be some other common metaphors that come to mind? Oh, and yes. So while you're thinking about that, let me back up a little bit. And there is a question about the block and a challenge, and it can be personal or professional. It can be internal. It's more internal than external. So it would be something that you need to figure out. Oh, okay, we got a good one here. Sly like a fox, wise like an owl. Okay. The early bird gets the worm, dumb as a doornail. Yep, okay. All right, so what these are, when you add like, it turns into a simile, which is just like a metaphor, except it uses the word like. And you can say, she is a sly fox, instead of she's sly like a fox. And what that does is when you remove the like or the as from those forms, you turn it into a metaphor, and it's more powerful. The apple of my eye. Yep, thick as a brick. That's a good one. A picture is 1,000 words. That's great. Does anyone want to come off mute and offer any others? Okay. All right. Well, let's do this. Let's craft. Let's get right into the crafting. So, does everyone have their crafting supplies? So for this one, you need some paper. It doesn't necessarily need to be colored. And a pair of scissors, and a marker or pen or something. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to explore this common metaphor through crafting it. And and what this will do is this will help you to understand the difference between a common metaphor and the soon to be mentioned crafted metaphor. So from these four, and I will share my screen again so you can see it. From these four, share, there you go. Okay, so from one of these, or pick one of your own, draw the owl, the star, the sun, or the apple. Or if you have one of your own, then you can draw one of those too. So for those of you who drawing does maybe not come naturally, or it makes you nervous, I can give you a little tutorial about, say, for instance, how to draw a star. So you can draw a star by, and I will stop sharing so you can see me. So you can draw a star like this. You know, there's no judgment around the star, like that. Or if you want to have a star that you can put a little smiley face in, what I will instruct my students to do is start with a circle, and then you start to draw the star points on it, kind of like a person in a way. So you've got the head and the legs and the arms. And then you can go ahead and put a smiley face in the middle, and that's your star. Okay. And then the owl's a little more complicated, maybe. It's just the letter U with a V for his head, and then 2 zeros next to each other for the eyes, and then another little V for the beak. And there's your owl. Real simple. And what's nice about learning these simple things to do with drawing is it will help you to add layers to your communication. So you can talk, you can speak, you can write, and now you can draw. So you've got a third way to communicate. All right. So does everybody have their little dude? Whatever it is. Okay. Yep. Oh, I like it. Can you hold it up? I'd love to see. Oh, I love the apple of the eye. That's great. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, lots of owls. Oh, great. Oh, Jeanette. Beautiful. Okay, Jennifer. Awesome. I love it. Oh, I love it. Very good. Okay, great. All right. So now what we want to do is we want to take our scissors and we just want to cut it out. Now be careful. You know, don't, if you've got sharp scissors, you got to pay attention. If I'm not paying attention, I often cut myself. So just cut it out so you give it some form. And then what I want you to do is take another color paper, or if you don't have it, you can just tape it or glue it onto another piece of paper here like this. And what we're going to do is we are going to cut that out as well. And I'll tell you, this may seem very elementary, but what I will tell you is there is growing research on the use of hand tools to create. So we spend a lot of our time on computers, and there are areas of our brain that rely on our hands to think. And so when you use scissors, and I find scissors, but you know, markers or anything, any creative tool that you use to create something. I mean, even if you're carving or building a sculpture or something, doing this is very good for your brain. So these are just a couple little tips on how to maybe do something cool or think about a problem. Okay. So does everybody have their common metaphor? Oh, I love it, Casey. That's awesome. Yep. Great. Super. Okay. Yay. Oh, it's great. I love it. Thank you. So fun. Okay, so now what I would like you to do is we're going to send you into a breakout room with 3 to 4 people. And when you are in that room, I would like you to introduce yourself and show off your handiwork. And then I would like you to share one thing that you found interesting about crafting this metaphor. And we will drop the instructions into the chat. And if anyone has any questions, you can throw that into the chat too before we get into our. Thank you, Brian. So the instructions are in the chat.
Okay, we're about to open up the breakout rooms. You will go in automatically. Please keep an eye on the time. The time will be at the top of the screen. Sarah, just to let you know, you will get sucked into a breakout room. Just go ahead and leave as soon as you're there.
Okay.
Have fun. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Oh, come off. There you go.
Sorry. I was just off mute. I didn't realize I was back on. Sorry.
Is
I
that, I'm
did that
sorry,
drawing for my son. He's going off to college, and I'm in the process. So we've done some road trips and some traveling, and it was sort of like, oh, the places you go, and this is more like, oh, the places you've been, and what's next in your life.
that's so cool. I love it.
It's fun. It's kind of his senior portrait from my thing. He's gonna supposedly hang it in his dorm. We'll see.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh. Yeah, what is going to happen this year with schools?
Well, he's going to Vermont, University of Vermont, and as of now, unless something changes, we'll have a pretty hard, strict quarantine mid-July for 2 weeks, and then we're allowed to head to Vermont and get him set up.
Well, good luck with that. That is that's yeah. I don't know how you all are doing it with the children. It's tough. Well, welcome back, everyone. Thank you, Greg, for sharing that. Welcome back, everyone. How was that? Who is inspired to share their experience in crafting this common metaphor? What was that like for you, from drawing to how do you feel?
I was inspired by a person who had just moved and had to cut out with a knife instead of having access to scissors.
Nice, good, creative.
Yes.
Move.
Very
That's
creative
awesome.
group.
That's great. And Matthew, what was your common metaphor that you used or that you drew? Which one did you choose?
That's me or yours?
Oh,
Dave?
I'm sorry. Who was it? I'm David. I'm sorry, David.
Yeah, David Matthew.
David, I'm sorry. The pictures are so small.
Yeah, you got half of me.
Yes, David, sorry.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm just kidding. I like the, I think because we're in such a virtual world, I like the step through physical process of actually draw, don't talk, cut, put it on a piece of colored paper. It's almost like it's like a life affirming thing, because everything I do is in the virtual space now. It's all kind of talk and video and touching screens, and it's like, it's not very stimulating. Like, it's necessary, and I get it, and I'm making it creative, but I liked all of that physical stuff in the virtual space, I think is what I like.
Good. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, so this really is, like I say, a really easy thing to do. Just to use simple supplies that you might find around your office to get creative and craft. It's really good for your brain, and it is a nice break. It is a really nice break. So, so now what we're going to do is we're going to move into the crafted metaphor. So you just did a little experiment with the common metaphor, and now we are going to consider what the crafted metaphor is. So I'm going to share my screen again, and we are going to, if you remember my story about how I hated my job, and I was doing it just for the money, and it felt like a scratchy pantsuit. And that was the metaphor that I had for this job that I did not like. So in working on this metaphor, what I discovered there are 5 elements to a crafted metaphor. And they are visual. So the first thing about a crafted metaphor, which means it means something to me, is that it's something that I can imagine. Like, I can imagine it in my mind, and I could imagine it in the real world. And it is also meaningful. So what does that mean? Meaningful means that it is something that means something to me. So space travel, for instance, doesn't really mean much to me, but fashion does. And so what that means to me is that this metaphor is tapping into my sense of fashion. The next guideline for a crafted metaphor is it's creative. And that's where we come to this part of cutting it out and being creative and using our hands. And like David said, like being able to like get off of the tech and really think about things with your hands is a really powerful thing to do. Fourth, it is tangible. So this metaphor makes you feel something. In my case, this one was really uncomfortable and scratchy, and I wanted to take it off. And finally, the fifth guideline for a crafted metaphor is that it is powerful. And what that means is it is motivating you to move. And in my case, this crafted metaphor of a scratchy pantsuit that meant I did not like my job motivated me right out of that job. And I quit it soon afterwards. So the powerful, or the crafted metaphor is more powerful than the common metaphor through the use of these 5 guidelines. And a well-crafted metaphor harnesses the power we can use to move forward. So let's look at this. All right, so next what you're going to do is you are going to play with the 5 guidelines for a crafted metaphor. And I'm going to stop sharing here for a moment. And okay, so I'm going to tell you a little story, and I want you to make it yours. And maybe some of you have been here, so you'll be able to feel it. Okay, so you finally sat down to go through your mail, and there's a tall stack of bills. And after opening them, you have a sinking feeling that you owe more money than you have to spare. You have a feeling of overwhelm. And this is where you're at. You have a feeling of overwhelm. What does this overwhelm feel like to you? Think about the metaphors that could illustrate what it feels like to be overwhelmed by bills. How might you characterize your feeling? And what I would love is to have somebody come off, either drop in the chat or come off of mute and share some metaphors that they can think of about being overwhelmed by bills. Oh, yep, compression up to the neck or nose, making it hard to breathe. Yes, yes, yes. A weight pressing down, I've had that. Yes. Yep, sick, stuck in a straitjacket. Oh yeah, I can relate to that. Drowning in debt. Yes. Empty stomach. Oh my goodness. Yeah, these are some good ones. Nausea. Oh my gosh. Yes. Being attached to a stone, dropping off a boat. Yes, that is a great one. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So now you see how a not so simple problem of having to pay bills can be a visual that would make your body feel bad or panicked or suffocating or drowning. So what we're going to do now is craft again. All right. So does everyone have a larger piece of paper, like a 8.5 by 11? This is colorful. It doesn't have to be, could be. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bend this in half because you want 2 halves. So fold it in half. So you have 2 halves of the whole. Okay. Now on the left side of your paper, you're going to brainstorm the words. And some of you have already written them here in the chat. Go ahead and brainstorm some words on the left side about that feeling of overwhelm. And it's words. So whatever words come to mind. I will give you 15 seconds to do that. Okay. We have quicksand. We have nausea. We have swamped. We have empty stomach. Okay. Okay, so you've got some of those. All right, so that is on the left side. Now on the right side, and I know all of you are awesome illustrators, you are now going to draw storm, if you will allow me to use those words, silly as they are. You're going to not brainstorm, but you're going to draw storm on the right side. So what that means is all of these things that you have identified as feelings of financial overwhelm on the left, you are now going to draw on the right. And draw your best stick figure. And when you are thinking about these words and drawing these images, think about how these words might use the 5 guidelines. So how might these images be visual and meaning, well, they're visual because they're drawings, but meaningful? How is it, that you recognize that feeling? How could they be creative? So what is an image that, you could take it a bit further and be more creative? Could you add color to it? How is it tangible? So can you really feel it? Do you really know what it's like to be climbing a mountain and how hard that is, if that happens to be one of your words? And then, and powerful, like how would that make you want to move forward? Okay, how are we doing out there? You have a few? Okay, so as long as you have a few words and a few images. Oh, let's see, Lee, what do you got? Oh, yep, nice. I like it. Oh, Lee, come off mute. I want to see what you've got there. Is that an
My guy in a straight jacket, and he's kind of red in the face, and the elephant on the chest causing a little pain.
Yes, that's awesome. All right. Okay, good. And David, oh boy, the RIP. Yep. Yeah, I know that one. All right, great. Okay, cool. Oh, that's awesome. All right, well, thank you so much for sharing, Lee. All right, so now what I'd like to do is have you go back into your same rooms of 3 to 4. And I would like you to take 1 minute each and show off your handiwork and share a little bit about how your drawings follow one or more of the 5 guidelines for crafted metaphor. And we will drop into the chat those directions. So again, there's visual, meaningful, creative, tangible, and powerful. Think about how those things feel to you and how that is. Thank you, Brian, for dropping those in. So I will hand it over to Brian now to do his magic and send you back into your rooms.
Thanks. And just to let you know, we're putting you in new breakout rooms just because we had a few people drop off. And so we had to mix it up a little bit to make sure that we had 3 and 4 people.
Okay.
We'll see you back in 5. Have fun.
I want to see how the chat is doing.
I think we've got everybody back now.
Okay, excellent. Well, welcome back. That's great. How was that? How did that feel, finding a visual to represent the feeling of not being able to pay your bills? Would anyone like to come off of mute or put it into the chat? And how was it sharing too? Like, what was it like sharing that experience with others?
We were supposed to share?
Well,
No, it was a lot of fun.
That was in the instructions. Didn't I say that? Yeah, I said share.
Yeah, I loved that they shared their nightmares and their worst, things they fear the most. And it was interesting how vulnerable they were willing to be. I applaud them totally.
Good. Now, did you feel vulnerable in that?
I had that sinking feeling, but I didn't get as I don't think I was as scared as they were. But yeah, it was pretty terrifying in our breakout.
Yes.
A lot of fun.
It can be. Yes, it can be. Well, thank you so much, Greg, for sharing. That's awesome. Okay, where are we on our time here, Brian? Are we really at 5:21?
I think we're just about at a break.
Okay. All right. So Well, so we'll take a break for a little bit, but before we go, are there any questions about, we're a little bit ahead of time too, so we've got some time. Are there any questions about the common metaphor, which is something that we hear all the time, or the crafted metaphor, which is a metaphor that follow those 5 guidelines? And thinking about how that will eventually apply to you.
Stephanie, did you have your hand up earlier?
I was going to share as part of the debrief, but I think we've moved past the debrief, so it's okay.
Oh, well, Stephanie, would it be okay to back up?
We can back up if you want to go there.
Sure,
I'll share.
I would love to.
One of the things that I found interesting about the crafted metaphor was that there was a lot of variety. And we were able to look at the challenge from a lot of different perspectives. And I found that to be really interesting because even in my own metaphor, when I looked and heard about the other metaphors in my breakout room, I wanted to add depth to my own. And there was something that was, there was sort of a little bit of a snowball effect that happened just by seeing what other people had come up with.
Nice. Well, thank you. I'm glad we backed up there, Stephanie. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
And I'll add one thing, if you don't mind, based on Stephanie's comment, is I mentioned earlier about the rock being attached to your foot being thrown over the boat, and someone drew someone with a rock falling through water, and it almost makes what you said, at least what I felt like it made even more real seeing someone else draw it out in words.
Nice.
Draw my words out, yeah, even though it was their own version of it.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Casey. That's good.
It draws people out, so to speak. Like that whole metaphor thing, because sometimes I see these visual things, and when people speak in a metaphor, and I shared my visuals, people got it. Like they got it really quickly, as opposed to me just sharing what I did. It kind of drops into a deeper resonance with people, I think.
That's wonderful. Oh my gosh, thanks, David. That is a very good point. And that's what's so great about visuals, as all of you know, it really helps to communicate on a deeper level. Thank you.
I just created my little book. It's called Crafted Metaphor or whatever. And it's going to be, and then there'll be a little, there'll be a byline, drawing people out.
I love it. Thank you. Oh my gosh, that's so great. Super fun. Okay, who else?
If you use that for marketing, you could also use it to draw people in. So.
Oh, there you
go.
go.
Yeah. Nice.
That's a good one. I'm going to TM that one, Greg.
That's nice. Really nice.
Okay. I would love, so how is everybody feeling? Are we, do you want to, is there more to share? I would love to hear from you. Or we can. Okay.
How long is the break? It's like a mini break, like a 5 minute or 3 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep, 5 minutes. Just to get up and stretch.
Why don't I go ahead and start that timer then? We'll see you back in about 5 minutes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you, everyone. Are we coming back?
Yeah, I've gone ahead and started the recording. Sarah, back over to you.
Excellent. Okay, well, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for coming back. So let's review how far we've come today. I'm going to share my screen again as a reminder. Let's see if, whoop, can you see me? Okay. So we have, so far today, I've told you a story about the block I had and how in defining its edges, I revealed the true nature of its shadow. You crafted a common metaphor using simple tools. You discovered how the 5 guidelines to a crafted metaphor start to tell a story. And now it's time for you to chip away at the superfluous material of your block by turning it into a crafted metaphor. So let's do this again, where we want to grab another piece of paper, another 8.5 by 11 or similar size. We're going to fold it in half again. And we are going to run our own block that we have identified earlier through this same filter. So pull out from under your seat your warmed up block. And let's see, I am going to, I can't see it. I can't, oh, hang on a second. All right. All right, so everybody has a piece of paper. Okay, so now you know what to do on the, so you have your piece of paper with your challenge on it. So you know what your challenge is or what your block is. On the right, left side, sorry, on the left side, you are going to brainstorm words that describe this challenge. So you want them to be visual, you want them to be meaningful, creative, tangible, and powerful. So that's what we're going to do right now. So what I'll do is I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to do that. Okay. All right, so now we are going to, now you are going to draw storm on the right side. Doodle however you want the words from the left side, as you did before the break. Illustrate a crafted metaphor. And I'll give you about a minute for that. And if any of you have questions, you can drop them in the chat. You could, if you want to chat me privately, I will answer any questions you might have about how to do anything you're having a challenge with here. Okay, so for our next breakout, we are going to do something a little different. We are going to send you into a breakout room of 2 people. And if there is an odd number, I will join. How is our number? How are we doing here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think, so Brian will, so we're gonna go into rooms of 2 people each. And Brian will put me in with somebody if there's an odd number. So this is what so what you're going to do here together is what my friend and I did back in the studio. So you're going to be mirroring with each other using a set of questions that are based on the 5 guidelines for crafted metaphor. So you're going to share your block or your challenge with your partner, what your block is. You are going to share some of your brainstormed words, so to help your partner understand a little bit more around what your challenge is. You will share your draw-stormed images, which will help deepen the understanding for your partner. And then what you will do is with your partner, you will discuss the images that you are using to visualize your challenge or your block. And with your partner, you want to, by the end of the time that we give you, you want to have one image chosen. So if you've drawn stormed 5 different ways to characterize your challenge or your block, you're going to pick one. And it's going to be the one that your partner helps you pick. Does anyone have any questions about that process? Okay. All right. It sounds, are you guys ready to do this? Thumbs up? Thumbs up? Okay, awesome. You guys are fantastic. All right, well, I will give it over to Brian now. Thank you so much for putting everybody into, yes, come back with one. Yep, yep. Now you want a metaphor that really has one image that really means a lot to you. Yep. Okay. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take 4 minutes each. So 8 minutes total. So each of you have 4 minutes. Brian will be giving you warnings. So, so to keep an eye on your timing. And at halfway through, we'll give you a warning, and then and mirror with each other and help each other out.
Okay. So 8 minutes total. You'll have a timer at the top. Have fun. See you soon.
And we have everybody, right?
Yep, we do.
Oh, we do. We do. Great. Thank you. Great to see all of you back. Thank you. Okay. How was that? You like it? Oh, well, let's hear from some of you. Would you like, how would you like to share what you experienced?
As to be someone who hasn't shared yet. I
All
know.
right. Yes. Yes. I don't want to
Jeanette,
be so...
I'll share.
Okay. Thanks, Jeanette.
Yeah, so I got to talk with Carla, and I had a little added benefit because she happens to be a coach. So she asked me some thought-provoking questions and helped me sort of nail down. I had, well, I guess just real quick, my word or my concept is like a lack of courage. And what I came up with is these sort of 2-dimensional beings. And the one that we talked about the most was feeling like a paper doll, you know, sort of being flat and 2-dimensional versus 3-dimensional and you know, alive. And so just that experience, as we were talking through it, came up with more words to help with a metaphor, and then just really drill down to like, which of these is actually what I'm experiencing now. So yeah, it was very thought-provoking, and I think the conversation for both of us, just talking through the metaphors, changed, you know, opened our aperture on a few things.
Oh, I like that. Opened your aperture. That's awesome.
I'll share. It was really interesting because I had done mine about not working on my workshops, getting my workshops out there to sell them. And 2 of my things were, one of them was being, you know, naked on stage, and another one was me being all tied up. And what Casey suggested was kind of to do the opposite, to imagine the best thing. And I ended up combining the 2 of being on stage tied up and releasing myself like Houdini. So I feel like that's what I'm going for now, is to be Houdini.
Wow, and Kit, you hit the nail on the head. Because aren't you seeing now how when you visualize your problem in 3 dimensions, that you could also visualize the solution in 3 dimensions? And I think that this is part of, I think this is really like the point that I want to make, is that like Einstein was asked how he would save the world in 1 hour. And he said he'd spend 55 minutes defining the problem and 5 minutes solving it. And I feel like we are getting some traction around understanding that if we spent more time thinking about the challenges that the blocks, that the solutions would start to appear. And then you start to see that there's various ways to attack the challenge. So I will share with you. I was in with Brian, but I will share with you. There's a takeaway that you will get at the end of this class that is the cherry on the top. And I was having a terrible, terrible, terrible time with it. And when I ran this process for myself, it was like, well, you know, I might as well, I've got this, I might as well use it, right? So I started to think about all of the feelings I had around how, with this difficulty I was having making this takeaway for the end of the class. And to me, it felt like buzzing. So I felt like there was this buzzing in my throat that was really uncomfortable. And I felt like if I came at this the wrong way, or if I made the wrong takeaway, that it would feel like I was getting stung by bees. And that's tangible because I got stung by a yellow jacket the other day, and that is a terrible feeling. So I had this feeling of fear that if this workshop didn't work and I gave you the wrong takeaway, that I would feel like I was getting stung by bees. So I spent a lot of time thinking about how that felt. And then once I characterized that as a wasp's nest, then that helped me to understand, well, okay, what are the various ways that I can look at this wasp nest? I can walk around it. I can get somebody else to do it, which is possible. And there's just various strategies that I could use to attacking this bee's nest of making my takeaway for you for the end of this class. So anyway, so I just wanted to share that with you because I use this very process to give something to you at the end of this class. So is there anyone else that would like to share a little bit about their experience with crafting a metaphor?
I could go.
I'll share. Oh, you can go, Kelly. Sorry.
Sure. You can go next.
Kelly.
So I was partnered with Stephanie, and we were talking through this idea about being pulled in many directions. And I ended up with this drawing of a person who was like stretched out very thin, like a Gumby toy. And I thought that my partner actually said something very interesting about how I added these like pins or spikes to the metaphor, which kind of like made me have to explain myself and like why I added the spikes and how that kind of cast new light onto the problem. So it was pretty cool that just by drawing, I like subconsciously expressed like another facet to the problem.
Excellent. Oh, that's so great. I'm so glad that you spoke up and said that, because that is really powerful to be able to internalize that and then be able to express it. Thank you so much, Kelly. Let's see, there was, who was it? Oh, it was Angie, right?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. So I really enjoyed, I was partnered with Alina, And so for mine was the understanding of my value, and that's something I've definitely been really working through, as you know. And the words I first came up with was this idea of being grounded and having a steady stance. And so what I ended up drawing was kind of this little chick on a stone in the middle of the ocean, kind of going forwards, not being scared of the waves that are coming through. And through talking to Alina, she kind of helped kind of look into more meaning that's still metaphorical per se, but it's still really accurate to what I'm going through. So it's the idea of kind of like navigating forwards. And she was really talking about the idea of having a compass and following that North Star, and not being pushed down by somebody telling me when I know the industry better or anything of that sort. And I found that very validating.
Good. Well, great. That's excellent, Angie. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
I got one quick one. So my future of my business was all unknown. So what I ended up doing this first a compass, with different directions. And then I was in the woods, nowhere to go. There's no one there. And then the trees actually were becoming people, lifting their arms. So actually I drew another thing of like, actually I'm kind of into the woods. I don't know what the future of the business is going to be in the next kind of COVID era. But I thought I'm surrounded in the woods by all these, the trees became people, like in the Wizard of Oz movie, the trees become actually people, etc. So I think what I'm learning from this is actually the weight of the metaphor is actually the lift of the metaphor. What I saw in the person I was in another room, the darkness, if you go into the darkness, that there's like, the light is in the actual darkness. And when people make their own metaphors, they're much more powerful than like, metaphor cards or it's like it has a level of depth and work in it, and that it's okay to go into the shadow side of the metaphor, because that's where the lift is, I think.
Yes, thank you. That is very true, David. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Hermika, did you have one that you wanted to get in?
Actually, Mary Jo, if you don't mind. Mary Jo, I was in the space for Mary Jo, and she definitely inspired me, because I started out saying that I actually had this whirlwind of things. I'm trying to find it now, but I was in this whirlwind of trying to figure out new ways to connect with people, and using visuals was part of it. But as I listened to Mary Jo's story, it sort of opened it up even more. So we connected in a way that she brought in my perspective. She was actually, this is how it started. So we both had a story. It started out this way. Then she said she felt like she was in the box, and she's trying to figure out where she wants to go, possibilities, because we both love this space. And I said, well, maybe you have 1 foot out the box. And so you're thinking about possibilities up here. So instead of being in the box, you have 1 foot out of the box, thinking about possibilities, and this is the end state. And people are happy and winning, and there's the connection of all the love and all the things we love to do together. So it was almost like our stories connected and created this huge metaphor of stepping out of the box with your ideas. And that's how you get to your end destination. So we got to the end destination, it just haven't pictorially represented it.
Yes, that's what's going to happen. That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love it. Thank you.
You're a happy metaphor lady.
Oh yeah, out of the box thinking. That's great. That's awesome.
I think I saw AJ.
Hello. Yes. So I worked with Mateo, and let's see if my drawing is, I added darker lines. You couldn't really see it before. So this is a tug of war with me wearing a cape. And in the center is my energy.
Nice.
And on the other end, pulling and rooted deeply like tree roots is important stuff. So one thing that Mateo helped me with better visualizing, naming those things that are the important stuff, and then also adding more of a personality to myself and bringing out, am I a full-time superhero? Is this just something that I have on that I take on and off? and adding more depth and color to it as well. So it was actually very helpful. So thanks, Mateo. So some of the things I may think are random things is not that they're random things that I don't need to do. I just need to rearrange or change the methodology in which I do them. So that's it.
That's great. Thank you so much. Good drawing too. I love those. I love that drawing.
Thanks.
And how do people feel about drawing? I mean, I think everybody's a drawer, it looks like. Did you use any new tools today to draw? No, the usual ones? Well, it is. So I will say something about using using tools in our next section here. I'm going to get you pushed out of the box a little bit, and we're going to start crafting again. How's that sound? You guys interested in doing that again? Okay. All right. All right. So we have about a half an hour. And I think this is going to be a real fun time for us to all craft together. And so if you have not gathered some crafting supplies, you can go do that now. I will give you some ideas about what I have. So I have, and if you have any questions, if you want to come off mute, feel free to do that and holler at me and ask me any questions. So I have colorful markers. I have highlighters. Highlighters are good to use. I have tape, glue stick. So I carry glue stick with me. I have all kinds of colored Post-it notes. I have white index cards. I have a pile of paper. So I'm a crafter, so I have all this stuff. So if you don't have this stuff, it's no big deal. Does everybody have at least markers? Do you have at least markers? Does everybody have markers? Okay, great. So you don't need to have colored paper if you have markers, because you can color on paper. And then what we're going to do is we are going to make this a three-dimensional metaphor. Now, by three-dimensional, I mean you can either actually make it physically three-dimensional, or you can do paper sculptures, which I will show you mine here in a minute so you understand what I'm doing. By three-dimensional, what I mean is you are doing what we did at the very beginning. So this is three-dimensional, this little guy. It's two pieces of paper, but that still makes it three-dimensional. So you can either build your metaphor that you have identified in flat 3 dimensions, or somebody gave me this idea, I think it was actually Stephanie, to use foil as a device for building something 3-dimensional. So this is where I would like you to use your creativity and to have fun. So we're going to give you about 20 minutes, I think, 50, about, what do we have here, 6 o'clock. How about 15 minutes? And then if we want to keep going, we can keep going and see how it goes. How does that sound? Does that sound good for everybody? Cool. All right. Okay, so now what I would like to offer is if there is anyone who would like to speak with me to get them into the crafting mood with your metaphor, let me know. And Brian is going to put me into a breakout room all by or how are we going to do this? He's going to put me into a breakout room that you can join me, and I can chat with you if you need that help. Would anyone like to do that? Is there anyone who would like to have a chat? Oh, Stephanie. Okay. All right. Well, I got at least one taker. And so I'm going to go away for about 5 minutes, and I will be back. And in the meantime, I don't know, what do we do? Play some music or something? Here we go. All right. I'll hand it back over to Brian to put me into a breakout room. And if anybody, and I say, Brian, how about if you have any questions or something, you want to ping me. Can you do that in the breakout room? I've never quite done this before, so.
I can do that. So here's what I'm going to do. So who was the first person that raised their hand?
Stephanie.
Okay, so I'm going to set up a breakout. We'll start a 15-minute timer, and then whenever you're done, so Stephanie, you can just come back in, and then the next person who would like to get some one-on-one time with Sarah, just let me know, and I'll send you into that same breakout room. Okay.
Okay.
Sort of
So,
like.
I was going to say, all right, what I forgot to mention is that, so this is my metaphor for the problem I was having with this takeaway. So I wanted to show this to you. So this is my buzzing bees. So as you can see, I have taken paper and cut up paper and used a marker to define my mad bees. So this is what I do when I am building my metaphor. So you can do it three-dimensional in the three-dimensional sense, or you can do it a little flatter, just to give you an idea. But I'll be back. So when I come back, if you guys have questions or something, I'll be available.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Okay, good. Okay, good. And I think where did AJ go? I got it. This kind of.
I'm still here. I'm just not.
Yes. So so I would like you to craft a like a page out of a like a date book that says today. So you can do it like mine, where it's flat, flat, layers of paper or whatever, and draw it. And that's what I want you to work on, because today is your metaphor, because it's about all of the things that you need to do today.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. And then I'll tell you what to do with that.
Sarah, I think we're back with everybody.
Okay. Good. Okay. Ooh, leave meeting. What happened?
Don't leave the meeting.
I know. I'm sorry. There's like all of these screens, and every time I come back from a breakout room, it screws up my layout. All right. So let's see. Where are we? 6:24. Okay. So how's everybody doing? How did you have you been drawing and crafting? Oh, I see Jennifer. I see a flower or something. What is that coming up over the edge? Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Oh, that is fabulous. That is so fabulous. How far is everybody else? Oh, I love yours, Angie. So cute. Oh, bring it in closer. I want to see closer. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, that is great. Oh, look at that one, Stephanie. That's awesome. Okay, so do we need a couple more minutes? Does anyone have any questions? Or I would really love to hear what you're thinking about crafting your metaphor. Oh my gosh, those are so great. Oh, Isha, what is that? You're coming out of something. What is that? I'm sorry, is it Aisha?
It's Aisha. So mine was hiding my light under a bushel, and I was like, oh, well, if I do it this way, it's not dark and scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and so this is the power of crafting a metaphor, crafting a crafted metaphor, is that in Aisha's case, she went right to the solution, of which is to come out, what was it, into the, tell me again, Aisha, coming out, what were you doing? You're coming out.
I'm not coming out. No, it was, but I felt like I was hiding, and I was feeling small. And so I got into the hiding my light under a bushel. And then I was like, oh, but under the bushel, and I did it as a basket, is kind of dark and creepy. And if I flip it the other way, hello.
Yeah. That's
all
great.
The light comes out. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. So that is the power of crafting a metaphor. And as we have experienced in the last 2 hours, we have spent 2 hours thinking about the problem, and the solution, 5 minutes or 5% of the time, coming up with the solution. So what I hope that you are taking away today is that a challenge, when turned into an image that means something to you, will put your block into context, into a broader context, and give you ideas about how to solve that challenge. And has anyone had any ahas or realizations from this process about how else to approach? Yes, Lee. Oh, I see Lee raising his hand. Was that you?
Here, I'll take my, just gonna explain mine. And Aisha was kind enough to give me feedback, and I was unfocused. So here was my E on the eye chart that's very blurry. And then to help the metaphor, I decided I need the eye to be looking at the E in my little sculpture here. And then what will solve the problem, I just happen to have, I stumbled into my closet, are my glasses here. So the glasses become the focusing agent for the eyeball. And then, ta-da, it all becomes clear.
Oh, that is great. Thank you for sharing. That's fantastic. I love it.
So the glasses are my reminder. Nice job.
Good, 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 good. That's what we need. We need the reminder for what the solution is going to be. And I will also add to this that I'm sure all of you have heard the term manifestation. I think that's pretty well known by now in manifesting. And what they say about manifesting is you need to feel the energy of where it is that you want to go and what it is that you want to have or change into or grow into. And this process provides you that energy to manifest. So it slows you down, it gets your body into the process, and it gives you a feeling of what it's like to be where you want to go and also where you don't want to go. So if you turn your challenge into something like that bee right there, you are going to find the quickest way out of it, which is what I did. I will show you soon what, thank you so much for demonstrating that, Lee. So Lee, are you going to keep that on your desk or just the glasses? Just the glasses. Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. So let's see. Is there anyone else who would love to share their process? Oh, is this Stephanie? I see a hand.
I think what was really interesting about dwelling on the problem and thinking about the problem for the large majority of the time is that the problem shifted. And my understanding of the problem took on new meaning. And actually now the problem that I'm trying to solve is a lot simpler than what it was when I came in. I think just because I've thought about it in a lot of ways, and now the thing that I thought was the problem isn't the problem. It's something much easier to solve. And that makes it so much, I don't know. So just the process of dwelling on the problem for so long made me kind of go, oh, wait, that isn't even my problem in the first place. So I appreciated that. Good.
That's excellent. Well, someone said to me the other day that the lack of something isn't a problem. It's what is creating the lack of something. So, that's why I say that that blocks cast shadows. So you want to be careful in characterizing your challenges or your blocks, that you're not choosing wind or air. It's what is it that casts a shadow that makes the difference. Yeah. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you so much.
This isn't very three-dimensional, but I wanted to share something that I kind of started drawing out a story like AJ had and some other people. And I ended up actually getting kind of obsessed with this one symbol, the clock plus the yin yang symbol, because similar to what Stephanie said, I think my problem had a lot to do with external people and situations and things that like I really would ideally love to change that, but I don't have power to. And so the only thing that I can change is like my own approach and attitude towards it. And so I got kind of like distracted from taking this into 3D because I got obsessed with this like idea of yin yang and the clock, where like there's a time for like striving, and then there's also a time where you just kind of have to like settle down and like be okay with yourself and like whatever situation you're in, and like not be hard on yourself. But then having like that metronome, which I also drew out, and then like the time like always come back around from like light to darkness and back again, makes it so that hopefully in the long term you still are making progress, even though you're also like taking time to like not be as anxious.
Good. Oh, that's great, Kelly. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's excellent. And I will encourage you to, once you're done drawing, which is great, it's great to draw, is to make it into something that's out of a book, and you can have it in your house somewhere on your desk or something as a reminder. Because also working with it with your hands to take it off of the page is going to help you internalize it more, and it will mean more to you when your body is included in the solution by crafting it.
Yeah, I think like once I kind of get the design of this yin yang clock settled down, I'd love to make it into something that can turn on itself. So
Oh my gosh.
Physically turn from light to dark.
That's awesome. You're an engineer. Cool. All right. Let's see. Do we have, so Brian, how are we doing there? Oh, I love it, Jennifer. Oh, that's cool. Did you have a sun on there before?
Yeah, I did. So someone was asking about this. So this is actually me attempting to apply gratitude and self-kindness towards myself.
Oh,
so I was originally thinking like hands up towards the sun, but I couldn't actually figure out how to get the sun to be stable enough to sit above me. So I had some gold ribbon. I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe I'm just, making this too hard in the way in which I don't do a lot of 3D physical structures. So I was like, how about a gold ribbon? That sounds good too.
It's beautiful. Oh my gosh. It is absolutely beautiful. I love it. I mean, really, just physically and metaphorically, I think it's fabulous.
I think I have a new future in tinfoil. I had no idea.
I know tinfoil is fun to work in, isn't it? That's so great. That's so great. Well, if we, I would love to get a screenshot with everybody's pieces up. Brian, is that something that you can do both at the same time? I don't know how to do that.
Facilitate that. Yeah. So if everybody will hold up their piece, we're going to do this on the count of 3. Ready? Mateo, where'd you go? There you go. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Very nice.
Thank you. Oh,
Kelly,
that's
just
so
made
fun.
Last minute.
That is so fun. Oh, God, I really appreciate all of your help, Brian. Thank you immensely, immensely. So, okay, we are pretty much at our time. I would love to get some feedback from you. So this is a new workshop online. I do this in person, but this is a new workshop online. And I have a link. There is a link here that Brian can throw in the chat. And if you could please go and fill that out. I have a little gift for you at the end, my little takeaway form that will be a lot of fun for you to experience. So if you wouldn't mind, it's only 9 questions. I believe it should take less than 3 minutes or something to, here, let me see if I can get it to go. Oh, there it is. Thank you so much. So there's the fee. It's a Google form. And I would love some feedback from you. Thank you so much.